Listen up, bro. Let me keep it real with you for a second. You ever notice how some people talk like paying bills is some kind of flex? Like, I got my own money, I don't need nobody, I'm self-sufficient. But listen, who you expect supposed to handle that? Me? The stubborn boys in the back? The system? Nah, that's called life, fam. That's called being grown. Nobody hands you a trophy for paying rent. Ain't no applause when you swipe your card for groceries. That's the price of admission for living. By the sweat of your brow, you eat bread. That's not my words. That's scripture. And last time I checked, scripture don't play favorites. Man, woman, rich, broke. You gotta work, period. See, here's the trap. We started taking the basics and calling it empowerment. Like covering your own bills suddenly makes you royalty. Nah, that's survival. That's entry level. Don't confuse obligation with achievement. Now don't get it twisted. I'm not hating on independence. Handle your grind, for sure. But don't act like responsibility makes you special. It don't. It just makes you human. But I get it. The world taught you to flex survival like it's a crown. You were told, if you can stand on your own, you're stronger than everybody else. But that's a lie dressed up pretty. Because real strength ain't about being alone. It's about standing solid even when life puts weight on both shoulders. It's about alignment, order, structure. And that's the part we miss. See, independence without purpose? It's just noise. It's pride looking for an audience. It's isolation wearing a mask called freedom. So let me break it down simple. Paying bills? That's not empowerment. That's not feminism. That's not a revolution. That's just called being grown. And being grown? That's the bare minimum. Not a badge, not a crown, just the entry ticket to the game of life. So stop bragging about the basics. You don't earn extra points for doing what was already written into the script of existence. Don't mistake survival for destiny. Don't confuse bills for purpose. Because life is bigger than paychecks and rent receipts. And the moment you realize that, you stop playing checkers and start moving like chess. Let me tell you the truth a lot of folks don't want to hear. You out here screaming, I don't need nobody. I'm independent. I stand alone. Sounds powerful, right? But deep down, that's just pride talking. See, independence got marketed like a brand. They sold it to you like sneakers. Wear this, say this, post this, and now you're strong. Real independence? It don't need hashtags. It don't need applause. It's silent. It's steady. It don't got to prove itself. But what most people call independence is really just loneliness dressed in designer. It's walls built out of fear. It's rejection flipped into a performance. It's saying, I don't need you, while your soul whispers, I wish somebody had me. Now don't get it twisted. I respect hustle. I respect women and men who get their grind on. But let me ask, what's the point of grinding so hard? If the only thing you got at the end of the day is yourself? You ain't built to be an island. Nobody is. Not me. Not you. Not the toughest dude on the block. Even Marcus Aurelius, one of the coldest emperors to ever walk the earth. He knew this truth. We were made for cooperation. Even a king understood. No empire gets built alone. But pride tricks you. Makes you think cutting people off is power. Makes you think being untouchable is strength. But really, that's weakness in disguise. Real strength ain't I don't need nobody. Real strength is I know who I need and I ain't afraid to walk with them. That's order. That's balance. That's truth. But here's the saddest part. When you wear independence like a crown, you start chasing illusions. You think freedom means cutting ties, but all it really does is cut you off from the very protection you cry about later. And that's the paradox. Scream, I don't need no man loud enough, and don't be surprised when no man shows up. Push away structure long enough, and don't be shocked when chaos moves in. That ain't strength. That's self-sabotage. Because independence without humility, that ain't freedom. That's prison. And pride, that's the warden with the keys. So yeah, go ahead, pay your bills, stack your cash, take pride in your grind, but never confuse survival with supremacy. Never confuse loneliness with liberation. Because if all you got is you, then you ain't free. You're just trapped in a cell built by your own hands. Independence is only real when it's grounded in order. Anything else? It's just pride wearing a mask. Everybody out here talking about strength. I'm strong. I'm independent. I don't need nobody. Let me ask you, is that real strength or just noise? See, strength ain't about how loud you talk. Strength ain't the Instagram caption, ain't the flex on your story, ain't the fake smile you put on when you cry at night. Strength don't gotta perform. Strength don't gotta convince. Real strength? It's quiet. It's steady. It don't break when the storm comes. It becomes the storm. But what I see out here, a lot of people chasing shadows, a lot of women confusing survival with supremacy, and a lot of men too scared to call it out. You say you strong because you pay bills. That ain't strength, that's standard. You say you strong because you cut people off. That ain't strength, that's fear wearing heels. You say you strong because you ain't depending on no man. That ain't strength, that's rebellion against order. Let me hit you with some wisdom. Isolation don't make you powerful, it makes you hollow. A tree standing alone in the field might look solid, but when the storm hits, it's the first one to snap. And that's the trap of this so-called feminism. It sold you the idea that strength means competition, that you gotta be the man, outshine the man, outgrind the man. But check this, the sun don't compete with the moon. The moon don't compete with the sun. They got different jobs, different purposes. Together they balance the sky. But try to be both, you end up lost in the dark. Listen, you were never meant to fight the masculine. You were meant to walk with it. Not as a servant, not as a slave, but as a partner on mission. Two powers aligned under order. But rebellion? That just leaves you tired. Pride? That just leaves you bitter. And the end result? Isolation cloaked in the costume of empowerment. So here's the harsh reality. The more you chase this illusion of I don't need nobody, the more you realize you still cry for protection at night. You still crave safety. You still want order. But pride won't let you admit it. And pride is a thief. It robs you of balance. It robs you of peace. It robs you of the very strength you think you found. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Pride is a master of deception." And he was right. It tells you you're strong while it makes you weak. It tells you you're free while it makes you a prisoner. It tells you you're whole while it leaves you empty. So stop confusing noise with power. Stop mistaking rebellion for strength. And stop chasing an illusion that leaves you alone. Because strength ain't about competing with men. It's about aligning with order. And when you step into that truth, that's when you stop pretending and start living. The universe already told the story. The sun and the moon don't argue. They don't compete. They don't fight for attention. They shine when it's their time, and together they hold the balance of the sky. Now picture this, the sun trying to be the moon trying to be the sun. What happens? Chaos, confusion, darkness swallowing light, light drowning mystery, a broken order. Man was built to be the sun. Light, fire, direction, order. He burns so others can see. He stands as the pillar, even when the weight crushes his shoulders. Woman, she was built to be the moon. Mystery, reflection, beauty, depth. She takes the light. She bends it, she reflects it, and in her glow, the night feels safe. Different roles, same sky. Different powers, same purpose. Not rivals, partners. But here's the sickness of this world. They told women, don't be the moon, be the sun. And now we got confusion. We got rebellion. We got emptiness covered in pride. See, the moon's power don't come from imitation. It comes from reflection. It comes from embracing its role, not running from it. It don't need to burn like the sun. It don't need to compete with fire. Its mystery is its weapon. Its depth is its crown. We see moons trying to act like suns, screaming, I don't need no man, I shine on my own. But in truth, they dim, they fade, they collapse under a role that was never theirs to carry. And men? Some of them forgot to be the sun. They let their fire go cold. They stopped leading. They stopped burning. And the whole order got flipped upside down. This ain't about dominance. This ain't about servitude. This is about divine order. The kingdom was never built on competition. It was built on cooperation. You can rebel against it, mock it, reject it, but truth don't bend for feelings. Truth don't bow to hashtags. Truth is eternal. And the truth is this. The sun and moon were never enemies. They were always allies. So stop trying to rewrite the sky. Stop trying to play both roles. You end up with nothing but shadows. Be the sun. Be the moon. Respect the order. Respect the balance. Because when you move against design, you don't just lose strength. You lose yourself. Rebellion looks sweet at first. Feels like freedom. Feels like power. But what's the real cost? Loneliness, emptiness, a life where pride screams louder than peace. You walk around saying, I don't need no man, I don't need nobody. But when the lights go out, when the streets go quiet, when the crowd stops clapping, that echo hits different. That silence, it feels like chains. See, rebellion ain't just about breaking rules. It's about breaking order. It's about telling God, I know better than you. And every time mankind said that, chaos followed. Every single time. Eve thought she could rewrite the script. Cain thought he could rewrite sacrifice. Rome thought it could rewrite the heavens. And every time, the same outcome, destruction. Not because God weak, but because order don't bend for feelings. So when you say, I don't need a man, understand, you're not just rejecting a person. You're rejecting structure. You reject imbalance. You reject in design. And what happens? You don't get strength. You get stress. You don't get freedom. You get fatigue. You don't get empowerment. You get emptiness you can't post away. That's why so many souls out here lonely. They traded order for applause. They traded divine truth for a cheap slogan. And now, they lay in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why their heart feels like a war zone. The truth is raw but simple. You were never meant to compete with men, never meant to fight them. You were meant to walk beside them. But even deeper than that, you were never meant to depend fully on them either. And once you got him, once you got that anchor, then you'll see the order for what it really is. A man who leads with fire, a woman who reflects with grace. Two lights, different roles, but one mission under the kingdom. So remember this, rebellion feels powerful for a season, but the price is always the same. Isolation, confusion, pain. The cure ain't feminism, ain't money, ain't a man or a woman. The cure is God. And until you bow to that truth, you ain't free. You're just running in circles. We've been talking heavy. Bills, independence, pride, illusions, the cost of rebellion, the order of the sun and the moon. But now it's time for the final word. Life ain't about competition. It ain't about flexing who don't need who. It ain't about screaming, I stand alone. 'Cause let me tell you, ain't nobody out here truly standing alone. We all leaning on something. Some lean on money. Some lean on pride. Some lean on people who break them. But the wise, they lean on God. You think you don't need a man? Cool. You think you don't need a woman? Fine. But if you think you don't need God, you already lost. 'Cause without him, you can hustle all you want, but the grind will eat you alive. You can flex independence all you want, but that silence at night will break you. You can wear pride like jewelry, but it'll choke you before it shines you. The kingdom ain't impressed by hashtags. It ain't impressed by flexes. It ain't impressed by rebellion dressed as empowerment. What it honors is order. What it crowns is humility. What it lifts up is obedience. So yeah, go pay your bills. Handle your grind. Stand tall in your lane. But stop confusing survival with destiny. Stop calling rebellion freedom. Stop mistaking noise for strength. 'Cause listen to me, the sun don't try to be the moon. The moon don't try to be the sun. Each got their place. Each got their role. And together, they make the sky whole. That's the picture. That's the order. That's the truth. So if you're a man, be the sun. Lead, burn, bring order. If you're a woman, be the moon. Shine, reflect, bring depth. Don't compete, collaborate. Don't rebel, align. And both bow to the same source, the God who wrote the script before you even breathed your first breath. 'Cause at the end of the day, you don't need another illusion. You don't need another slogan. You don't need another flex. What you need is God. And once you got him, the rest makes sense. The order makes sense. The balance makes sense. So stop playing. Stop running. Stop fighting order. 'Cause rebellion looks strong, but only for a season. God looks strict, but he lasts forever. Choose wisely.